This is the city of the creators. Bandung. One of the largest cities in Indonesia, a creative city which has generated millions of innovations. Here, young men and women were born. They who made a breakthrough and are pride of Indonesia. We are here to shape the young men and women to unleash their potential. Maranatha Christian University.
Since 1965, we serve and educate young generation to have a vision and inspire others. Here, we make sure to have a complete support system to strengthen and support the learning process and atmosphere for the young generations to create great stories. With 9 faculties and 28 study programs, we instill value, build character, to create positive impact to the world. We continue to establish national and international relationships in academic and industrial field, in research and comparative studies to ensure you to have the best learning experience here.
In order to compete both nationally and internationally, we need exceptional human resources, and Maranatha Christian University is determined to produce exceptional graduates with character and integrity and who strive for creativity and excellence.
We choose to inspire the world and to inspire you so that you can inspire others.
Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to meet you in this webinar. I am Florence on behalf of Industrial Engineering Department, Universitas Kristen Maranatha. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you. Welcome to the first part of webinar series from Design and Computation Laboratory entitled Introduction of Usability Engineering in collaboration with Yonsei University, Taiwan. In this webinar series, we will have discussions about human-computer interactions from human factor perspective. I would like to greet and personally welcome our respectable participants from Universitas Kristen Maranatha, Vice Rector Ibu Olga Patiwai, Chairwoman of Industrial Engineering Department, Ms. Christina, Head of Design and Computation Laboratory, Ms. Winda Halim, and then faculty members of Industrial Engineering Department. Also, I would like to personally welcome our guest from Yonsei University, our guest speaker today, Dr. Lin, also representatives from Global Affairs Office, also a representative from international student, Mr. Dipta. Welcome. It is an honor to have you here with us. In order to have a conducive environment during the session, I would like to seek your cooperation in completing the seminar. Please kindly mute your microphone during the session, especially during the speech. Also, please turn on your camera so that we can get to know each other better. We would like also to welcome your questions. You may raise your questions in the chat room provided, either in Bahasa Indonesia or in English. We would like to start our program with a prayer. I would like to invite Miss Christy to lead us in a prayer.
Okay, I will lead a prayer in Christian faith. Let's pray together. Good afternoon, God. Thank you for gathering us today through this webinar. Now we are going to the webinar. Please bless us from start to finish. In your name, we pray and give thanks. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Christy, for leading us in the prayer. To begin with, I would like to invite the head of Design and Computation Laboratory, Kepala Laboratorium Perancangan dan Komputasi, Ms. Winda Halim, to give an opening remarks.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Floren. Good afternoon, dear respectable guests, colleagues, and students. Thank you for joining this webinar, the first series webinar held by the Design and Computation Laboratory, Department Industrial Engineering, Universitas Kristen Maranatha. First of all, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Prof. Lin. Thank you for your time to share the knowledge and give us a lecture about usability engineering, which we may not be familiar with. Also, representative for Global Affairs Office from YSU, Mr. Dipta. Thank you. And I would like to personally thank to Mr. Andri Janto and its committee member for the support and effort in the making of this event. Hopefully, we will all be able to gain fruitful insight through this webinar. So enjoy and have a good time. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Flora.
Ms. Winda Halim for the wonderful remarks. Before we start the lecture, I would like to invite Mr. Dipta Purwadaria as Indonesian Master Student Representative to provide an introduction to Yonsei University. I'll give the stage to you.
Okay. Halo, selamat siang semua. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the chance that have been given to me. Right now, I'm going to be the representative, or my role in here as the representative of General Affairs Office or International Office of YSU. Di sini tadi udah mohon maaf ke Prof. Ray terlebih dahulu, tapi saya akan menggunakan bahasa Indonesia, tenang aja. Jadi jangan takut, saya akan berpromosi sedikit mengenai kampus YSU. Oke, langsung aja biar gak pakai lama, saya akan share screen saya terlebih dahulu. Oke, bisa terlihat layar saya ya. Oke. Kalau di sini mungkin ada yang bertanya-tanya, YZU itu apa atau Yonsei University itu apa? Nah, Yonsei University itu sendiri seperti kalian bisa lihat di layar, atau Bapak, Ibu, atau saudara sekalian, atau teman-teman, bahkan teman-teman. Saya panggilnya teman-teman aja biar kita terlihat akrab. YZU seperti apa? Tadi kalian udah lihat bahkan video singkat mengenai promosi YZU. Nah, sebelum saya perkenalkan diri saya Dipta Divakarapius Purwodarya atau biasa dipanggil Dipta. Saya di sini merupakan master student atau graduate student di Departemen Information Communication Yonsei University. Di sini juga saya merupakan representatif secara langsung dari General Affairs Office, seperti saya katakan di awal. Nah, jika teman-teman nantinya atau saudara-saudara sekalian nantinya tertarik untuk melanjutkan studi atau ingin melakukan penelitian di kampus kita ini, di sini saya memberikan kontak saya seperti Line, IG, FB, dan juga email saya. Feel free untuk kontak kapan aja. Akan saya coba bantu jawab dan usahakan. Dan jangan takut, nggak perlu pakai bahasa Inggris, bisa pakai bahasa Indonesia, oke? Jadi kalau ada yang teman-teman yang tertarik untuk mencari beasiswa ataupun hal-hal lainnya, bisa kontak langsung ke saya. Oke, apa yang akan kita bahas di sini ya cuma perkenalan mengenai kampus aja sih, sejarah singkat, faktanya, lokasi, apa sih yang kita punya, penelitiannya, beasiswanya, dan hal-hal lainnya. Oke, kita masuk di sini di mana ya YCU itu mulai berdiri sejak tahun 1989 dengan nama Yonsei Institute of Technology, di mana Yonsei sendiri ini didirikan oleh pendiri dari sebuah grup besar di Taiwan, yaitu Far Eastern Group, Mr. YZ Su, pada tahun tersebut. Lalu pada tahun 97 berubah nama menjadi Yonsei University. Oke, Far Eastern Group itu sebesar apa sih? Nah, Far Eastern Group itu cukup besar di Taiwan, merupakan salah satu perusahaan terbesar di mana Far Eastern Group sendiri berdiri pada tahun 1949 dengan total aset seperti saudara-saudara bisa lihat sendiri mencapai 82 billion USD dengan total employee lebih dari 58.000 dengan jumlah anak perusahaan lebih dari 200. Nah, kalau orang-orang bingung Far Eastern apa, ada satu merek atau satu brand di bawah situ yang kalian mungkin bisa lihat, yaitu Sogo. Nah, Sogo di sini di Taiwan ada di bawah perusahaan Far Eastern salah satunya. Oke, jadi kalau misalnya ada kawan-kawan yang bingung Far Eastern apa, kalian bisa cari tahu lebih banyak lagi, tapi banyak perusahaan-perusahaan yang atau subsidi-subsidi yang perusahaan subsidiari yang lainnya yang berhubungan dengan Far Eastern yang ada di Indonesia juga. Oke. YZ sendiri di sini cukup bisa dibilang merupakan sebuah universitas swasta yang cukup dikenal, di mana di sini tuh kita memiliki 5 college besar, yaitu Engineering, Electrical and Communication Engineering, Informatics, Management, Humanity, and Social Science. Di mana di dalamnya terdapat 22 program bachelor, 31 program master, dan 11 program PhD. Nah, di sini kita memiliki total sekitar hampir atau lebih dari 500 dosen dan staf pengajar, dan juga ada staf yang seperti staf kampus berjumlah lebih dari 300. Nah, di mana studennya sendiri itu yang kita miliki lebih dari 8.000 student. Dan 25%-nya adalah graduate student. Nah, atau bisa master atau PhD. Nah, dari situ jumlah yang banyak 8.000 itu, 8%-nya itu merupakan international student yang merupakan seperti saya ataupun Ibu Florence yang ada di sana. Oke. Nah, lokasi dari kampus kita ini juga merupakan tempat yang strategis ya untuk di Taiwan sendiri. Walaupun kalau dilihat di peta, strategis dari mana Pak? Dia ada di ujung atas. Strategis banget karena kita itu dekat dengan ibu kota Taiwan sendiri, di mana yaitu Taipei. Dan dari kota atau kampus kita itu, kalau misalnya mau ke airport cuma butuh waktu 25 menit. Mau ke Taipei cuma butuh waktu 40 menit menggunakan mobil. Kita mau jalan dari kampus ke train station cukup waktu 15 menit. Atau kalau misalnya mau menggunakan kereta cepat ke stasiunnya hanya butuh waktu 40 menit. Nah, selama berkuliah di Taiwan, hal yang paling penting tuh jangan lupa untuk explore, karena seperti kalian lihat Taiwan itu nature-nya cukup bagus dan sangat bagus bahkan. Jadi kita sebagai pelajar di sini biasanya mencoba untuk explore keliling Taiwan untuk melihat keindahan alam Taiwan. Dan posisi kampus kita itu merupakan posisi enak untuk kemana-mana. Ya, jadi salah satu keunggulan yang bisa saya sampaikan mengenai sekolah di YZU sendiri. Nah, reputasi apa yang kita punya? Nah, seperti yang kalian bisa lihat, di tahun 2020, YSU masuk ke top 15 universitas yang ada di Taiwan. Nah, dan pada tahun 2005 mendapatkan penghargaan dari Kementerian Pendidikan menjadi 12 top university. Nah, dan juga mendapatkan penghargaan Teaching Excellence untuk 12 tahun. Untuk ranking-ranking lainnya kalian bisa lihat di layar. Dari tahun 2020 Asian University Ranking menempati posisi di 200-an, di atas 200-an. Oke. Apa aja sih kelebihan dari YSU? Nah, YSU itu sendiri merupakan universitas pertama yang memiliki program bilingual. Jadi di sini tuh kita ada English program. Jadi buat teman-teman yang takut nggak bisa berbahasa Cina atau Mandarin atau Chinese, it's okay. Kalian bisa lihat seperti di layar saya, ini casingnya terlihat seperti Chinese, tapi jangan takut, saya tidak bisa berbahasa Chinese. Di sini saya merupakan mahasiswa yang mengikuti program English program full. Jadi kalau ditanya gimana Kak cara hidup di sana, saya pure menggunakan bahasa tubuh, bahasa Inggris, dan Google Translate yang menyelamatkan saya setiap harinya. Nah, di sini juga kita mempunyai, merupakan universitas pertama yang mempunyai program atau mengimplementasikan program dual degree system untuk 5 tahun, di mana ada program 4+1. Jadi untuk anak-anak yang ngambil S1 di sini bisa tamat dengan gelar master hanya dalam kurun waktu 5 tahun. Lalu di sini buat teman-teman yang tertarik untuk belajar programming, apalagi anak-anak industri yang pengen tahu banget mengenai programming, di sini tempat yang tepat. Karena di kampus kita itu programming merupakan sesuatu yang lebih diutamakan dan kita encourage semua orang untuk bisa coding ataupun belajar bahasa pemrograman. Terus untuk departemen seperti manajemen dan electrical kita nggak punya pembagian. Nah, untuk anak-anak S1, kalau yang nantinya ada teman-teman yang suka mau belajar S1 lagi di sini, mungkin, nah, di sini kita allow atau mengizinkan di saat kalian merasa tidak cocok dengan jurusan kalian, kalian bisa transfer ke jurusan lain. Oke. Dan di sini juga terdapat interdisciplinary program di mana banyak terdapat minor yang bisa kalian pilih. Oke. Seperti saya katakan tadi, di sini terdapat 5 college besar dengan 24 departemen dalamnya yang memiliki English program. Jadi di sini ada 24 departemen yang punyai program dalam bahasa Inggris. Jadi jangan takut, banyak pilihan kalau kalian ingin bersekolah di sini. Oke. Ini merupakan salah satu contoh-contoh research center yang kita miliki. Kita punya kayak Communication Research Center, Environmental Technology Research Center, AI Innovation Center, Garant Technology Research Center, Big Data and Digital Convergence Center, dan hal-hal lainnya. Jadi kalian kalau yang tertarik dengan penelitian, di sini kita sangat kayak menghargai orang yang ingin coba menjadi peneliti dan mencoba memfasilitasi orang-orang yang ingin melakukan penelitian. Nah, untuk kawan-kawan yang tertarik untuk sekolah di sini, kita menyediakan juga beasiswa, di mana untuk bachelor ya beasiswa yang disediakan mulai dari 20 hingga 100%. Untuk master kita punya beasiswa dari 20 hingga 100% beserta stipend atau monthly allowance. Jadi atau kayak uang bulanan sebesar 6.000 NTD per bulannya, atau kurang lebih sekitar 3 juta rupiah. Lalu untuk PhD, kita juga menyediakan scholarship sebesar 100% dan stipend lebih besar yaitu sekitar 8.000 per bulannya atau sekitar 4 juta. Beserta jika kalian ada menjadi mahasiswa PhD di sini, kalian berhak untuk mendapatkan duit tambahan dari lab atau profesor kalian atau advisor kalian seperti gaji atau uang lab ataupun uang project. Nah, tapi hal ini bisa didapatkan juga oleh mahasiswa master, karena saya sendiri di sini mendapatkan keuntungan dari gaji-gaji tersebut. Oke. Kita juga di sini pada tahun 2021 kemarin berhasil memiliki banyak koneksi dengan universitas-universitas yang ada di dunia. Nah, seperti kalian lihat, dan kita berhasil mendapatkan 45 dual degree program dengan universitas-universitas tersebut. Jadi kalau teman-teman mungkin nantinya pengen mempunyai kerjasama dengan universitas tersebut, akan lebih mudah tentunya. Nah, di sini kita memiliki 6 gedung besar yang digunakan untuk pembelajaran, mulai dari Building 1 yaitu College of Informatics, Building 2 College of Engineering, Building 3 College of Mechanical Engineering, lalu Building 5 College of Social Science, Building 6 College of Management, Building 7 College of Electrical Communication Engineering. Pasti teman-teman nanya Building 4 di mana? Nah, di sini mungkin sama kayak di Jepang, di mana angka 4 itu dianggap kurang gitu baik karena itu seperti angka yang menyatakan kematian sehingga tidak ada angka 4 di sini. Jadi 1 2 3 5 6 7 yang dipakai. Oke. Lalu infrastruktur apa lagi yang kita punya? Nah, di sini kita punya Olympic size running track, indoor swimming pool, fitness center. Nah, hal-hal ini ada untuk membantu mahasiswa-mahasiswa yang merasa mungkin sudah stres atau membutuhkan refreshing dan semacamnya. Kita juga ada library yang bisa mendukung pembelajaran mahasiswa, dormitory ataupun asrama disediakan di sini, di mana asrama dibagi menjadi 2, yaitu male and female ya. Kita nggak menyediakan mix dormitory. Lalu untuk teman-teman yang membutuhkan makan, tentunya ada kafeteria atau kantin. Dan jangan takut, di sini kita menyediakan makanan halal juga di dalamnya. Oke. Untuk anak-anak yang mau menjadi international student di sini atau untuk international student kita menyediakan banyak hal. Contohnya seperti Global Hub, tempat di mana anak-anak internasional bisa berkumpul, bercengkrama, melakukan kegiatan sosialnya. Lalu kita menyediakan musola untuk teman-teman yang muslim. Kita juga memiliki body program di mana masyarakat lokal dan kita orang internasional bisa bersosialisasi. Nah, ada juga klub sepak bola untuk internasional. Lalu kita sering mengadakan seperti yang 4 di bawah, acara-acara yang anak-anak internasional bisa terlibat dan beserta dengan orang lokal juga yang memperingati acara-acara internasional yang ada. Contohnya seperti Holy Festival Celebration, merupakan acara yang ada di negara India, itu juga dirayakan di sini. Muslim Culture Day kita punya dan kadang merayakan Lebaran juga, dan kadang kita juga mengadakan barbecue bareng. Dan yang paling penting dan paling asik, kalau kalian sekolah di sini, kita punya namanya International Food Festival, di mana semua orang dari berbagai macam negara akan mencoba memasak masakan yang paling mereka anggap sebagai identitinya, dan akan coba kita jual bersama-sama, dan banyak orang dari luar juga yang datang untuk beli makanan tersebut. Kebetulan dari Indonesia, selama saya mengikuti International Food Festival, yang selalu kita jual dan menjadi identitas kita adalah Indomie. Jadi mungkin kalau teman-teman ada yang datang ke sini dan mungkin jago masak ke depannya, ya mungkin kita bisa menjual makanan lainnya. Oke. Ini merupakan contoh gambaran di mana sistem perkuliahan ataupun kegiatan yang ada selama berkuliah di sini. Jadi di sini cukup aktif ya, kita dituntut menjadi pribadi yang kritis, pribadi yang bisa berpendapat. Oke. Ini contoh dari asrama. Kalian bisa lihat di pojok kiri atas itu asramanya, kamarnya, di mana satu kamar akan berisi 4 orang. Di situ udah lengkap, disediakan ranjang, meja, lemari. Di WC ya kalian bisa lihat di situ ada WC-nya juga di luar, tapi dan kamar mandinya di luar. Kita juga menyediakan kulkas dan mesin cuci dan mesin pengering. Ada tempat lounge untuk kumpul di asrama, dan kita menyediakan satu convenience store ataupun apa ya? Kalau di Indo mungkin kayak Indomart, Alfamart. Nah, di sini ada Family Mart. Dan yang paling kanan itu tampak keluar dari asrama kita. Oke. Nah, kalau kalian merasa di asrama atau di kampus kalian tidak bisa makan, nah ini kita mau cerita dikit di mana saya juga merupakan seorang yang hobi makan kebetulan. Jadi di luaran kampus itu tersedia banyak hal. Mulai dari makanan, tempat belanja, dan sebagainya. Nah, tapi yang di sini yang saya mau tekankan ya makanan. Kenapa? Karena ya saya secara hobi makan. Jadi untuk kalian yang merasa bosan dengan makanan dalam kampus dan di dalam kantin, nah, di luar sana banyak makanan yang bisa kalian pilih dan kalian cicipi. Jadi jangan takut. Oke. Nah, setelah lulus dari UICU, kira-kira apa sih yang kalian bakal dapat? Nah, jangan takut. Setelah lulus dari UICU itu banyak hal yang bisa kalian dapat. Contohnya, sebagai bukti, 90% dari tamatan kita itu dalam 3 bulan rata-rata mendapatkan pekerjaan, dan 96%-nya sisanya akan mendapatkan pekerjaan di 6 bulan kemudian. Dan percaya tidak percaya, di tahun 2020, YCU itu sendiri merupakan universitas swasta yang cukup digemari atau disukai oleh perusahaan-perusahaan yang ada di Taiwan. Jadi mudah-mudahan kalian berkesempatan untuk bekerja di Taiwan juga. Nah, lalu karena kebetulan kita ini dibawahi oleh Far Eastern Group, kita juga menyediakan internship ataupun magang. Nah, magang dibagi menjadi 2, yaitu program magang A dan B, di mana yang A itu biasanya magang yang untuk anak-anak S1, yang mereka harus menjalaninya selama 1 semester atau 7 bulan. Sedangkan program B, yang 2 bulan itu untuk summer internship. Biasanya bisa dikerjakan oleh master, PhD, ataupun anak S1. Gitu. Jadi, kalau kalian yang ingin mencoba merasakan bagaimana pengalaman kerja, bisa melamar tentunya. Oke. Nah, Ini timeline untuk pendaftaran yang sekarang dibuka. Di sini kita dibagi jadi dua, ada international student, ada overseas Chinese student. Nah, untuk international student itu untuk teman-teman yang dari Indonesia yang bukan keturunan Chinese bisa mendaftar melalui international student, sedangkan yang merasa keturunan Chinese bisa mendaftar sebagai overseas Chinese student. Kenapa? Karena di sini kebetulan Taiwan sendiri memiliki program untuk overseas Chinese student di mana mereka ingin kayak orang-orang yang dulu pernah keluar dari negaranya dan ingin kembali, ataupun yang keturunan ingin kembali, mereka sangat support. Jadi ada program seperti ini. Oke, ini kalau kalian tertarik untuk daftar untuk international student mulai dari tanggal 1 Maret kemarin hingga 15 April ke depan. Jadi yang ingin mencoba mendaftar sebagai master student ataupun PhD, silahkan. Oke. Lalu untuk overseas Chinese student nantinya akan dimulai dari tanggal 15 April hingga 15 Juni ke depan. Oke. Ini sekedar gambaran kalau misalnya masalah overseas Chinese student. Tapi aku rasa kalau kalian ingin, karena kalau dijelaskan di sini doang akan jadi sangat rancu dan ambigu. Kalau kalian ingin bertanya bisa langsung tanya ke saya mengenai perbedaannya ya. Tapi secara garis besar perbedaannya seperti yang saya katakan tadi mengenai jadi di negara Taiwan itu sendiri mereka mengapresiasi orang-orang yang dulunya pernah keluar dan ingin kembali ke negaranya dan untuk membangun negaranya seperti itu. Dan ada sedikit perbedaan di beasiswa di mana mereka akan dapatkan kelebihan tertentu. Oke, jika kalian masih ada pertanyaan, kalian bisa hubungi kami di Global Affairs Office of YZU di Facebook, IG ataupun email. Oke, atau kalian bisa langsung kontak saya jika ada permasalahan. Oke. Sekiranya itu yang bisa saya bawakan. Nanti kalau misalnya ada pertanyaan, mungkin di sesi tanya jawab kita bisa ngobrol lebih banyak mengenai YCU. Oke. Thank you very much. If nothing else, I think that's all from me. Okay.
Mr. Dikta for the brief introductions to UNC University. So without further ado, let me introduce our moderator who will lead our session. Mr. Andrianto, Sarjana Teknik, Master of Engineering, is the faculty member of Industrial Engineering Department from Universitas Kristen Maranatha, a PhD candidate of Risk and Resilience Engineering from University of Tsukuba. He is currently working on pedestrians autonomous vehicle interaction study, and his research interests includes macroergonomic, ergonomic design, human performance and cognitive, and environmental ergonomic optimization model. Mr. Andrianto, I'll give the stage to you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Florence. And also thank you for all participants. Today we are here to listen to this talk in the introduction of usability engineering. So can you share the Professor Lin biography? Okay, thank you. So as an industrial engineer or engineer candidates, so I think it's important to understand about the customer or user needs to design the product so that the product could be useful. Therefore, today we will learn the process of developing a product by considering the user experience and other related variables. And today we have Professor Lin. So thank you, Professor Lin, for joining in this webinar. He will be our speaker from the University of UNZ, Taiwan. And he obtained a PhD degree in industrial and system engineering at the University at Buffalo. And his research field covered about human-computer interaction, healthcare system, and user experience usability design. So I will give the place and time for Professor Lin. So please, Professor Lin, time is yours now. Okay, Professor Lin, you can share your presentation slide maybe.
Thank you. So can you see my slides?
I can see your slide, Professor.
And hear my voice?
Yeah. very clear. Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you for all your introduction. I think it's very nice. I think Deepta know my university much better than me. That's a wonderful job.
No, not
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me start my speech. Good afternoon. My name is Ray Fong Lin. I'm currently an associate professor at UNC University. And like you, I'm in the Department of Industrial Engineering and the Management. Okay. So the topic is Introduction of Usability Engineering. And actually, I'm delivering this course right now. And I have some experience with industrial companies. So I would like to share with you some of the concept about the usability and engineering. And I think I already well introduced, so I'm going to skip this slide. And actually the slide you talk about me is much beautiful than mine, so let me skip this one. So my research area is human factors. As your department have the courses of human factors, right? Yes. So student took this course. Okay, so you understand human factors. It's a science that studies the interaction between human tools or in certain environment. By understanding the human limitations, capabilities, behaviors, or even preferences, when they use machines, systems, tools in any environment, or even the untouchable services. The purpose is trying to increase the performance and the safety in the very beginning in industrial. But currently, people more care about the satisfaction with the consumer products. Okay, so that is the approach of human factors. So my research direction include hand control movement, biotactile recognition abilities, and also smart HCI. I integrate the AI technique with the human factors. So come up with this research direction, smart HCI. And it could be computer aided diagnosis as well. So I am having several projects with our one hospital just near our university. And I also have experience in patient safety. And the last one is usability engineering, or you may know user experience. So my question, do you can you apply this kind of jobs in Indonesia? Is there this kind of job opening for the students? Yes, no?
What kind of job, Professor, do you mean? You mean working with the specialty in human factors?
Like the jobs opening for the usability or user experience?
I think it's quite rare in Indonesia to find a job like that.
Okay, so I think it's good. So let me introduce this kind of jobs here.
Okay.
It could be helpful. Okay, so as I mentioned, I teaching this course because although we have lots of the job opening for usability, but currently in Taiwan, those companies not really understand how this works. So basically, most of the companies open for this kind of job is searching for the people can do the usability testing, but not the whole concept. So it's good I can have this opportunity to share with you, all right? Okay. So this slide shows the content of my presentation. I will start with the needs of usability engineering since you are not familiar with this one, so which is good. Then I will quickly show you the usability. Try to identify what usability engineering is and usability engineering lifecycle, how to apply the methods, and briefly talk about actually list several methods actually you might know that you can apply in this procedure. And in the end, I show you an example of using usability engineering in the industrial project, all right? So in the beginning, I would like to show you some wonderful products. I think those are interesting. You can see the picture and guess what is the spatial design makes the product brilliant, all right? So what is spatial design of this product? It's a chair. So can you notice any spatial things here?
So I have no idea, Professor, what.
Okay,
what
so the question. Okay, that's fine. So you can see the chair, there is a place like a dock. So it's a weight part. So when you do this, you actually can replace the surface of the weight part. All right. So I think the chair is good design. And how about this one? So don't want it after all. So please place it here. So rake can avoid the customer leaving their unwanted goods randomly and making the store trouble, right? So I think this is a good design. And how about this one? So this seems it is a freight elevator, right? And the buttons can help people whose hands are occupied, so they can use their feet to touch the button. So I think this is a good design as well. And how about this one? In the park, the drinking fountain is designed to satisfy people and their pets, right? Not wasting the water, and the pets still can drink the water. And for this one, I think it's brilliant. The label can help customers easily pick what they want. There are several choices, right? Fun, rig, and the soft. So they can decide which one they want to buy. Just match the color. And how about this one? I think this probably designed by the Japanese. They're always smart about the things like this. So the highlighter won't block the following sentence. So I think it's a good design as well. Right, so those I think are all brilliant products. And next, I would like to share with this video. It's about Steve Jobs. Okay, let me try to share another screen. Just like this. So can you hear the voice from the video?
Okay. There's no voice, Professor. Yeah, it's very not so clear, I think.
Remember much about us. No companies. And to me,
no voice, Professor.
Not very clear. Is it clear?
Not so clear, Professor. It's very small.
So how about I send the link to Florence so you can play with for me? All right.
Okay.
Sure, Prof.
So how can I send to the?
And send me through the chat room. Prof.
Chat room. Where can I find the chat room?
At the bottom of Zoom.
Zoom windows. There is a chat button. And you can enter the chat room.
Oh, chat.
At the bottom of
Okay, can you see that?
Can you help us, Miss Florence?
To me, marketing's about values. This is a very complicated world. It's a very noisy world. And we're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is. And so we have to be really clear on what we want them to know about us. Now, Apple, fortunately, is one of the half a dozen best brands in the whole world. Right up there with Nike, Disney, Coke, Sony. It is one of the greats of the greats, not just in this country, but all around the globe. And, but even a great brand needs investment and caring if it's going to retain its relevance and vitality. And the Apple brand has clearly suffered from neglect in this area in the last few years. And we need to bring it back. The way to do that is not to talk about speeds and feeds. It's not to talk about MIPS and megahertz. It's not to talk about why we're better than Windows. The dairy industry tried for 20 years to convince you that milk was good for you. It's a lie, but they tried anyway. And the sales were going like this. And then they tried Got Milk, and the sales have gone like this. Got Milk doesn't even talk about the product. Matter of fact, it focuses on the absence of the product. But the best example of all, and one of the greatest jobs of marketing in the universe has ever seen is Nike. Remember, Nike sells a commodity. They sell shoes. And yet, when you think of Nike, you feel something different than a shoe company. In their ads, as you know, they don't ever talk about the products. They don't ever tell you about their air soles and why they're better than Reebok's air soles. What does Nike do in their advertising? They honor great athletes and they honor great athletics. That's who they are. That's what they are about.
Okay. Thank you. So let me share my screen again. This one. Sure. Okay, so you can see my screen again, right? Okay. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So how to make the change from Nokia to Apple? So I think probably only few of you know Nokia cell phone, right? So it's very different from Nokia cell phone to Apple. So how does it happen? Change from this type of the cell phone to this type of cell phone. And how can you come up with these brilliant ideas by asking you, can you make this kind of brilliant ideas by asking your user, what else do you think we can improve to make our product better? Probably not. When you ask your users about do you have any experiment, probably they have some opinion to modify your products, but you are not going to get a very brilliant idea. So we need a systematic approach to make this thing happen, all right? And what I mentioned here, in Taiwan, there are two types of the enterprises. On the left side is the traditional approach. So what you can see here, there is a project manager in the top. And the project manager work with the Department of Research and also with the Department of Industrial Design. And they are going to come up with the product concept and they ask manufacturer to do the product and send to the marketing and sell to the user. So we call this product driven. I think in Taiwan, most of the companies work in this way. And probably it's the truth in Indonesia. But what we need is different from the traditional approach. We call it user-driven on the right side. So again, you have a project manager work with the industrial designers. And most importantly, you need to have people know the potential needs of the user and understand the user preferences and know human factors. So congratulations, you are the people know human factors. And they need to be able to get the user experience from the user. You need to conduct usability test. So you probably learn how to do the experiment in the human factors courses, okay? So you try to have those kind of the feedbacks from the user in the very beginning to come out with the ideal product and then send to the manufacturing. Sorry. And then say, oh, sorry, skip, and sell to the user. So there are differences between two types of approach. For the traditional part, it's called technology driven. So in the videos, I think the important thing is when Job Steve tried to sell the Apple, they focus on how people interact with the product. It's different from the technology driven. So before that, people probably focused on the size of the screen, the size of the button, the speed of the computer CPU. So that is not the thing we want today. But for traditional approach, we probably collect customer requirement at the start of the project, or even get a little or no input from the user during the design and the development process, which is very different from user-driven approach. So for user-driven approach, you need to understand user. You need to gather user feedback, and it not only occurs just during the design and the development, but that all aspects of the product are customer-driven. Okay, so those are the very different approach to make products. All right. And as I mentioned, you are the students who can apply these kind of jobs. If you try to search the usability relevant job on the internet, you can see many jobs opening. I mean, in Taiwan or even in United States. And the requirements of this job are summarized here. You need to understand user behavior observation. You need to collaborate with user experience designers, and you need to conduct usability lab studies. You are be able to analyze quantitative data. So you learn statistics, right? You know how to run an experiment. So you are people who can do this kind of things. And since you understand human factors, you can conduct usability inspection and evaluation. And you can also perform the interviews and the focus group to gather the feedback from your user. And I need to come up with human factor solutions. So if you understand those skills, you can apply this kind of job in the industry. Several students and graduates from me, they are working on this kind of job in Taiwan, so currently. So when we talk about usability engineering, you might hear many similar terms. I'm not sure if you hear this. So sometimes you hear usability, usability testing, usability engineering, user experience, user-centered design. So you might confuse with those different terms. So let me quick make some definition of them. So what is the usability? Usability. Making something works that way we want it to work. Do you think it sounds familiar? If you took human factors course, you understand it's compatibility, right? For instance, it's laughing. So good, you understand this. And there are some focuses: easy of learning, easy of use, intuitiveness, and fun. I think human factors focus on this, right? And when you interact with the product, should be absence of frustration in using a product. So again, users can do what they want to do in the way they expect to be able to do. Again, compatibility from human factors. So when they interact with the product, should without hindrance, hesitation, and questions. And there are multiple components of usability: learnability, efficiency, memorability, row error rates, and satisfaction. So all those indices are related to the human factors. If you took human factors courses, you understand those are all the objectives of the human factors. And what is usability testing? So basically, any empirical or analytical activity directed at understanding or assessing the usability of an interactive product or system. So we should apply techniques to collect empirical data while observing representative users using the product or to perform the tasks. So usability test is a systematic way of observing actual and potential users of a product as they work with it under control condition. So again, we learn this by executing the human factors experiment. Sorry, okay. So this kind of test could be in any places if it is appropriate. Could be laboratory, could be a conference room, or participants' environment, or remotely, as long as you can get valid feedback from your user. And what is usability engineering? When we say engineering, it should cover more things, right? So it is a set of activities that ideally take place throughout the life cycle of the product. Okay, so consider it in the early stage before the product or service has even been designed. Okay, this an iterative design and evaluation. All right, so we need to gather the feedback from the user about the usefulness and the usability when they use a system or a product. Again, it's the iterative cycle of the test. The purpose is trying to expose usability deficiency, so the deficiency of the product, so that we can gradually shape or model the product. And then what is user experience? So user experience is a term used to describe the overall experience and the satisfaction that a user has when using a product or system. I think those definitions are broad, right? Okay, I have some diagram, which is better, but let me read through this, all right? So user experience is is about how or what a user feels while using some products. Those things could be anything, could be physical products, could be untouchable services. And what is user-centered design? So try to involve user in product design process. It's called user-centered design, okay? And it represents techniques, procedures, process methods for design usable product and systems. Importantly, it places the user at the center of process. Remember the user-driven approach that I provide. So you place the user in the very beginning. So all the PM, RD, ID need to consider the use of the user. It also supports how targeted user actually work rather than forcing user to change when they need to use something. So that is the difference between technology-driven and user-driven. Okay, so probably you can image in the ancient time, you have like one electronic devices. Before using that, you need to read the manual, right? So otherwise, you don't know how to operate the devices. But currently, in this generation, I don't think people want to use anything if they need to read the manual first, right? So that is the difference. So again, user-centered design only focused on user and the layer test. Evaluation, measurement of product usage. It is iterative design. So this figure, I always like this. So what is user experience? What is usability engineering? So what you need to do is try to discover the deficiency of the products. Once you find out the deficiency, you design the product concept. And based on the product concept, you produce. So what you produce is the prototypes. And then you use the prototypes to evaluate, try to gather user experience from the user. So this diagram shows.
Halo, si Aceh kasihan. Mana Aceh?
Okay, so you discover, design, produce, evaluate, discover, design, produce, evaluate, and run to the center. And you have a user present at the center. So it's an iterative process, and you always consider user in the center. So it's user-centered approach. Okay, sorry, so definition are broad, I understand. So I make this diagram. So, okay, let me use this diagram to explain different terms. So on the left side is user, you understand that. And once you took human factors, you understand user differences. So we understand user are different nationality, male, female, different age, elderly, young people, a baby, a disabled, okay? And we want to design a good product. So the product could be a touchable devices, could be untouchable services. Okay. Okay. And we are interested in how a user interact with the product or services. So when we consider this, we always think user and the product as a system. So it's a human machine system, right? For this human machine system, we are interested in measure the usability of the product. So usability we define is learnability, efficiency, memorability, low error rates, and satisfaction, okay? So those are what we care to consider whether product service is good or not, right? And in order to understand the usability of the product or services, we need to perform usability testing. Okay, so there are some methods that we can use: observation, questionnaire, interview, experimental testing. Okay, and then we say we want to do the manufacture before we really provide the good product to the user. So we need to come up with the prototypes so that we can gather the user feedback from the potential user. So we need to do the prototyping before we really produce the product and the services. And to do that, we have the usability engineering life cycle. So I'm going to talk about this later. So those are the steps that you can apply to gather user experience. So once you perform this, everything you get from a user call it user experience, all right? And once you understand user experience, you need to have knowledge of the human factors. So you probably know in human factors, we separate the knowledge into several topics, several categories. So including physical economics, cognitive economics, macroeconomics, and concept or affective economics. So once you understand this, you can make your prototypes better. Sorry. So you make your prototypes better by considering the knowledge of human factors, and then use the prototype to test with user to gather the user experience again. And this process is iterative. And then once you satisfy with your product concept, you send the product concept to manufacturer and make the real product and sell to the customer. So we consider this whole procedure as user-centered design. All right. So hope you can better understand the difference between these terms now. But don't worry, even most company in Taiwan, they don't understand this as well. So that's the job me as a human factors expert need to have some speech in conference or work with the industrial companies to let them understand it so that a student after graduation can find the jobs for them. So sometimes internet is not that well. I cannot see the slide change. So let me wait. But you can hear my voice, right?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Yeah. But the slide is stuck there. So
yeah. So
okay. Okay, so in the previous diagram, I point out the role of the usability engineering lifecycle. Here, I want to show you some steps that you can apply. However, it's not necessary follow these steps. Okay, so those just the suggestion steps that you can apply. Okay, so first one, you need to understand the potential users. Okay, you need to define who your users are and then clarify their characteristics. For example, work experience, education level, age, work environment, or their physical situations, and so on. All right. So of course, you need to understand human factors. Second, before any design, you can perform competitive analysis by searching existing competing products so that you won't come up with a product that already exists or conflicts with any existing pattern. Okay. Sorry, I normally have some nice pictures in the right corner, but since we need to record the video, I'm afraid in the copyright issue, so I take them out. Okay. Third, developing goals. So the goal could be come up with an innovative design, like the example I showed you before. Or if you want to improve your current product, you can set your goals as increase of the performance time, or the reduce of the error rates, or increasing satisfaction from your user. Okay. Fourth, carry out parallel design, which means you group your designers to explore more design alternatives, the different options. And after this step, you can choose good alternatives for further development. Okay. And in the design process, you can invite representative users into the discussion. Those users actually can raise questions that designer can never ask. So that this is helpful as well. Of course, to make good product, you should understand humans. Therefore, human factors are extremely important if you want to apply these kind of jobs. You can apply existing guidelines, principles, or standards to make your product better. All right. And the prototyping. Prototyping is the process using different formats of the prototypes to gather user experience from the potential user. Okay. And then empirical testing or usability testing to test usability of the product. You can learn how to execute, experiment, and analyze the data by taking human factors courses and the statistics. Okay. So this kind of the life cycle is, again, iterative design. You need to generate the designs and make prototypes and evaluate and run for several times so your product can satisfy user needs better. Even after selling your product, you can still collect feedback from your actual user to improve your next generation of product. So currently you are using Microsoft Word, right? So when sometimes you see the error, the software automatically asks you whether or not you want to send the feedbacks to the company, right? So I think they try to gather the feedbacks from you. But I think most of you just ignore the feedbacks, I believe, right? So for doing usability engineering lifecycle, there are many tools that you can use. I don't think I have time to talk about each of them. And actually, probably you heard you are familiar with some of them. So I would like to show you the most commonly used method here, observation. You understand observation. And a questionnaire to gather the feedbacks from user. You can do the interviews to gather like a more deep understanding of the user. You can do the focus groups. The difference between interview and focus group is one by one is interview, one by more is focus group. So basically they are the same. And you need to understand how to do the prototyping. And there are techniques of thinking aloud, allow you to gather the feedbacks from a user interact with something. There are techniques of the cognitive walkthroughs. So task analysis, participatory design. I mentioned this before. And you can have the feedback from the human factors expert or try to do the heuristic evaluation. Okay, those are boring, right? So let me show you a demonstration. This was a project that my student and I work with a kitchen company in Taiwan. It's called Sakura. Actually, it's the biggest company in Taiwan. I'm not sure if the company sell product in your country. The company had an issue that fewer and fewer customers visited their showroom. So they have showrooms around the country, and it's an old company. It's an old company, yes. So they probably don't know how to do like innovative innovation. So they placed all the product into a showroom, but not that good. So they cooperate with us and want us to think about what they can do to make the changes. Okay, so this is the background. And this flowchart shows how we apply the usability engineering life cycle to generate a new idea. So what you can see here, we apply the methods of observation and brainstorming in the very beginning to figure out the issues of the showroom. And then next step, we design a questionnaire to gather more information from the customer and also get information from the staff, okay? And once we apply these three methods, we try to use some user behavior model to point out the potential needs or like difficulty of the user. So once we apply those methods, we have the result of this. So what you can see here, the students figure out that for the traditional showroom, lack of the product information, they probably can get into the showroom, but there is no detailed information for the new products, okay? And no any demonstration. Of course, they are not allowed to use those products. They cannot cook with the product. They cannot compare directly. And also there is a spatial issue that sometimes when people get into the showroom and look at some products, but the person need to discuss with their family so that they can decide to buy or not to buy. But once the person leaves the showroom, the store, it's difficult to make them come back. Okay, so those are the three main issues that students found by applying some interview questionnaire observation. So they set up with the usability goals. So they want to come up with the idea that can provide more product information and real demonstration. They can physically use the product. And also they want to take their family together to test the product. So they try to apply usability knowledge to come out with the idea, all right? So once they figure out the difficulties of the user, the potential needs of the user, they do the brainstorming, okay? And they come up with an idea that the showroom could be a store where people can buy several food package, raw material, okay, to cook and then enjoy the cooked meal in the store. And by doing this, user could test Sakura's products, all right, with their family and have a good time there. And when they are having the meal, they can discuss which product is better. Okay, so they come up with this idea, and actually the company loves it. So once they come up with the product concept, they start to build prototype to gather the information, experience from the user. So this is the prototype one. So they come up with this. So this is prototype one. So what you can see here, there is a cooking area, baking area, preparation area, and no material here, and wash area. And after the cooking, they can enjoy a meal here. So they use this prototype to do the interview one, to gather the feedback from a user for the first time. And the results show that the new idea can better attract them to the showroom. And the new idea can allow them to take their family to the showroom. So they all agree about this. However, they also get some feedbacks to modify their prototype one about the physical parts and the service policy. So they improve the decoration. They add some safety devices, and so they consider need to have the reservation services. Okay, and then they do the prototyping again for prototype 2. So this is the prototype 2. Okay, so much pretty, right? And once they have the prototype 2, they try to do the interview again not interview. They do the heuristic evaluation and the aspirate evaluation. Of course, aspirate is me. So I provide them some feedbacks about the prototype 2. They also apply the heuristic. So there are 10 heuristic principles. So they come up with, they need to provide the cost and the time spending on each meal. So they select meal. They need to understand what the time to cook that. And original idea, they need to bring the raw material by themselves to the store. They think that is too trouble. So they come up with the idea the store can provide instant set of raw material for cooking. Okay, so you can go to the showroom and buy the package for cooking. And even you provide the instant set of the cooking material, probably Taiwanese, most of people doesn't know how to cook. It's shame to say that, but it's true, especially for young people. They probably didn't know how to cook. So they suggest they need to provide the description of the cooking. Okay, so they come up with the prototype 3. So what you can see here is obviously there are menus here so that the user can look at the menu to understand how to cook their food. So this is prototype 3. So, and those are the description of the cooking for certain food package. Okay, it's pretty actually. Okay, they sell only probably 4 types of the package, and by cooking those packages, you can test the most of the products in the showroom. Okay, they do the interview again, and in the end, they have their final products. So this is the final prototypes. Okay, when you go to the showroom, you can order the package, and then it's nice, right? So you can try to cook the meals here with your family, and you can test different devices, different stuff, and different oven for cooking. And after the cooking, you can sit here to enjoy your meal and discuss with your family. Okay, so this is the example that I and my students work with the company for the usability engineering life cycle. And those are my speech. Okay, so you are welcome to ask questions.
Thank you, very much, Professor Lin. It's very interesting about the usability engineering. So I will open the question and answer session. I'm not sure how long we have time for this session. Maybe Miss Florence, can you,
We have
how
20
long we
minutes
have?
for Q&A session.
Okay, 20 minutes. So I open question for participants. You can ask directly to Professor Lin about his presentation. Are there any questions?
Yes. Hello, Professor.
Hello.
Thank you for the speech. It's really a wonderful experience that you share with us. I would like to ask about the.
Sorry, could you introduce yourself first?
Oh, sure.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Julio. I'm one of the student in UANZ. Actually, I'm
really?
Same with DIPTA departments, information and communication. Yes, and I would like to ask about your presentation that's regarding with the usability testing. Before it was COVID, we mostly do the usability testing with the experimental test. Usability testing, experimental testing is by doing offline, like we do it. We conduct it offline. For example, if I was about to if I was about to get some information about some application, we take a sample, the digital product application. I would like to do a experimental testing in order for me to get the user activities while using the task. Probably I will set up a camera to see their activities while using the application, or maybe I will use an eye tracker in order for me to see their heat map, or maybe anything else I could do in order for me to get more data. Yes. However, nowadays it's COVID, and it's really hard for us to get, or we conduct experimental testing due to the physical distancing and then other things. So do you for me, I was thinking like, what is the best solution for us, or probably what is the best tools for us to get more better result for usability testing, but we conduct it online. So what should we do? Like what method that we should do, or probably what kind of tools that we could do in order for us to conduct it online? Because it's online, then we couldn't know what happened due to the internet connection or probably other things, and probably the result is not better. So what should we do if we do it online, or you prefer not to doing online, like just do it offline? That's my question. Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you for your question. Your question is big. Okay, but I think first you need to define what kind of information you want to get from the user. Depends, right? So yeah, do you want to say what kind of information you want to get? If you want to get like whether or not your design app, for example, for cell phone, is good for them or not.
Yes.
The information you want to get is the feedbacks, or you want to understand like the performance. Performance could be the error rate, could be the time spent on it. So what kind of information you want to get?
Okay. Personally, I would like to get the user, in order for me, I give them a task to do, and then I would like to know if they can finish the task. I want to measure how long do they finish the task, if they succeed or not, or if they not succeed, or is the error rate. So I would like to know like how much do they be able to do the task within my design right now, or within the current application.
Okay. So if you just want to measure the time or error rate when they interact with a certain app, if you want, the reason you consider this is because the COVID-19, right? Participant cannot be in your lab.
Yes. It's very hard to do during the COVID-19.
I understand. So if it is the research, probably I'm going to wait the time for the people can come to the lab, because when you want to do the publication, your reviewer is going to question the methods you use to gather the data. But if you are not considering the research, as we mentioned, you need to think about what kind of the data you want to get. If you only consider like error rate or their feedbacks or the times, you can use video. So you ask the video, your participant to set up the video and the recording themselves to perform the task. So you can analyze the data by analyzing the videos. So it is possible. But if you want to use some advanced equipment in human factors, for example, eye tracker or like biomechanical recorder, so it could be very difficult, right? Because those devices need to have experimental to set up the environmental for the participant. So depends. But if I were you, if you want to do a publication, I'm going to wait. In Taiwan, right?
Yes, true.
So I think you can wait. There are times that you can do the experiment. Even now it's okay, right? We can do it right now.
Yes, but currently my participant is supposed to be an Indonesian participant, so it's a little bit hard to do experimental. And I believe experimental is more academical, and then the result is more better. However, it's really hard to get the user. So I will think about your feedback, Professor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your question. It's a big question.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Depends. If you want to understand more, actually you can talk to me. You are in Yunzi University. You can set up the meet. Well, I can talk more detail to you.
Sure, Professor. It will be nice for me to meet you.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor Lin, for the answer. So, is there anybody want to ask question to Professor? So, Professor, I have one question.
Sure.
How about in Taiwan? Who will conduct the usability engineering? The industry or some institution or researcher? Or there's a collaboration between company and researchers for conducting the usability engineering?
That is an interesting question. Okay, so this type of job in Taiwan, how to say, probably getting more and more in the last 5 years. But before this, there are tasks related to usability testing, but they not really apply human factors concept. They just apply workers to test their product to see if there are any problems. That's it. But nothing related to human factors. But since there are many good companies in the United States, for example, Apple, actually any good companies from the United States, they have a big department of usability engineering or human factors. They are doing the things. They are doing the things like this.
Research and development department like that, Professor.
Yeah. And in Taiwan, for big companies like previously for HTC and for Asus, for what is that? Asus. Another one is Acer.
LG for
LG is not a Taiwan company. We hope it is a Taiwan company, but it's a foreign company.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. And I believe those companies have the department of human factors or usability engineering.
Okay.
There are some small companies, for example, several students, graduate students, they work for this kind of job after graduation, like travel companies. They decide the travel plan for the user. So they apply what they learn in the school to do this kind of jobs. So you also ask what kind of people can do this kind of job. It depends, because as I said, it's a teamwork. So normally you will see like people in the industrial design, of course, and also people in physiology. And right now, we do see people from industrial engineering to do the analysis and conduct experiments and work with those people together to make it happen. But I need to say, those companies are good company. They know how to, they are willing to do the investment because those departments, those people are expensive and take time to find out something. For most of companies, because in Taiwan, we do OEM. So the requirement send in and they just follow the requirement and make the product. They don't have their own brand. For companies who has their own brand, they probably want to invest spend more to make their own products better. So that's what I see how people work as a team in Taiwan, good companies to achieve these kind of goals. But it's just happened in these days. Now that it's new, And as I say, most of company doesn't really know which department, which area that I can include those workers in. So we try to do the promotion. Another thing you might be interested in, I just received like a speech from one government organization. They want to build a spatial team, want to do the usability for medical devices. So there are lots of companies in Taiwan, they try to produce the medical devices. And we do ask those companies to do the usability testing. But previously, those companies doesn't know how to do that. Yeah, so this organization invite me to try to find some human factors experts to deliver a series of courses, try to educate those companies that the usability testing is important. So we are working hard to introduce the importance of the human factors and the usability, and hope those companies is going to hire our graduate students in the future, in the near future. Yes. So it's a continual improvement in Taiwan.
So recently you do some projects with industry for testing some product.
Yes, the Sakura one is a specific one that we worked before. Yes.
Okay. So how about the collaboration? Does the industry or company offer to the university, or university is looking for that kind of project?
For that project, the company tried to find me. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know how they get information from me who can do usability testing for that project. And for me currently, as I mentioned, my focus is work with the hospitals.
Okay.
Currently, and probably for what I said for the government organization, that will be another direction, because I and the other human factor expert is going to deliver the course to many medical devices company. So probably we are going to come up with the cooperation projects later. Yes.
Okay, Professor. Sorry, before we continue, maybe there's another other participant want to ask questions.
Sure.
So you can ask directly to Professor Lin, or you can also type your question in the chat and we can read your question. Is there any question? Okay. Mr. Teddy, thank you. You can ask your question.
Thank you for the time. And thank you, Professor Lee, for your talk. It's very insightful. Regarding the usability testing, we conventionally conduct it in the lab, so we can gather data regarding the error rate, the completion time, etc. But on the other hand, we may lose the data or information about the context of use and how actually user interact with the products. So there are many ideas to conduct the usability testing in the field, or we can call it the contextual usability testing, where the participant use the product in their environment, maybe in their house, in the office, or maybe some other places. But in this method, there may be some difficulties, like many distractions, like weather problems or telephone calls, etc. So what is your opinion about the method for conducting the contextual usability testing to get some real information of how user interact and feel or experience product in their real environment? Thank you.
This is a good question as well. So your question is asking my opinion, what is the better method that we can use so that we can gather information in the field where the user are, right? Again, I think it depends. Depends on what kind of information you want to get. Depends on the environment. Of course, you can bring your devices, for example, eye tracker, into the field to see how your user interact with certain product, of course. But we need to take into account its costly, and they are troublesome there. So depends on information you want to get. I actually depends. So that's the reason why we need to understand lots of methods, because for different information, you really need to apply different methods. But there's one thing I want to point out is probably because we are in the university, so in our brain, we think about the validity of the data. We think about how to design our experiment very wonderful so that we can publish the data. But those kind of technique, those kind of result, I don't think is for publication. It's for real use for the industry. And if you work with the industrial company, what you are facing is not what kind of method you can use, is the time, the limited time you have. So that is another challenge. They don't have time to wait you to set up, design the experiment, collect data, analyze data for a long time, because they want to have the idea as soon as possible, especially when they don't understand the value of the usability testing before manufacturing the real product. Probably I didn't answer your question, but to answer your question, we should know what kind of information you really want to get in the field so that we can consider which method is better, and also can match the requirement of the time pressure of the company.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Lee.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Teddy, for the question and also for the answer, Professor Lin. So I have one question from Mrs. LT from Maranatha University. So her question is, I would like to ask about first is, what are the main variables when testing a good kitchen? So maybe I will give one by one okay. Could you answer the question number one, Professor? So what are the main variables when testing a good kitchen?
What is the main variable?
Yes.
For designing the kitchen?
Yes, for testing a good kitchen.
Testing, is the question asking what is the contribution of the usability engineering I did for the project?
It's the variables, Prof.
Variable.
Yes, the variable.
Variables, the features.
Variable feature. So contribution, right?
I think so, Prof.
So
I'm
if
not
you
sure.
not sure,
I'm not sure.
if you are asking what is the value we get by go through this usability engineering life cycle, is that your question, right?
Yeah, maybe the second question is, what is the relationship between kitchen testing in your research and usability?
Okay, so as I mentioned, usability engineering life cycle is an iterative process to get user experience, right? And based on those user experience, you try to modify your product concept. And once you have new product concept, you try to make new prototypes. Those prototypes is a tool help you to gather new user experience, user feedback from your potential user. So what you can see is a procedure, right? It's a process for this one. Okay, so as I said, usability engineering life cycle, you apply lots of methods, for example, observation, brainstorming, questionnaire, or prototype, interview, and usability testing. So it's the whole procedures. So I show you this example to demonstrate how we apply those methods and the prototypes again and again to gather the feedbacks from user. So the traditional showroom is like this. It's okay. You get into the showroom and you can touch the products, you can touch the oven, but you not really know how to use that. And probably you see, yeah, it's beautiful, but I'm not sure how this product works. And you probably go back to discuss with your husband, with your wife, and there is no decision to make. So what we contribute is we come out with a new design of the showroom like this, so that the customer can get into the showroom and order some raw material. The purpose is once you have raw material, you can try to cook those raw material with different products from Sakura. So you are going to have experience of the product. You understand whether or not the product is good or not. And once you're doing that, you can enjoy your meal in this nice place and discuss which one is better for you. And you have a space, you have a chance to discuss with the family who goes with you. Okay, I'm not sure if I try to show the contribution of the usability engineering by using this example.
Okay, thank you, Professor Ren.
Okay.
So, Mr. Dipta, I see that you raised your hand. Yeah, Mr. Dipta, you can ask question.
Okay, thank you for the chance. Prof, sorry, I would like to ask something to you.
Okay.
Because we are talking about the usability testing right now. I'm just wondering because I want to know if I want to do like a usability testing, the ideal number, how many tests do I need to do to get the right or the valid result? How many participants do I need to find to get the valid result, in your opinion?
Okay, that is another good question.
Thank you.
So about the sample size, probably you are going to answer 30, but 30. But I don't think that is the good answer. So first of all, you need to focus on whether or not your the user informed can represent the user of your products. That is the first thing. You cannot ask students to test your product and the product is going to sell to the elderly. No. So you need to match your users. All right. And you need to randomize. You cannot only take a user from Taoyuan, for example, from Taiwan, if you want to sell a product to Indonesia. So first of things, you need to find the participant who can represent the user of your product. This is more important than the number of the users. Once you figure out that, you can try to collect data. And once you collect data, you can try to analyze the data. Statistically, sample size more than 30, we can consider is a big size. But probably you don't have that money, that time to do that. So another way to consider whether your subject is enough is by considering whether your answer is going to keep stable by increasing more participants. I mean, if you try to ask 10 participants about the feedback of something, if you add another two, their feedback is probably similar. And another one actually is similar. It means if your user can represent your real user and their answer is going to stable, so that you can decide, okay, those feedback are enough. In reality, not in research, because in reality, always consider the time and the cost.
Yeah, I believe so.
But if you are working on research, you can use statistical power to see whether your result is good enough. But that's for research. But this kind of technique actually is for industry. Students learn this, they need to apply the procedure, the methods for doing the job. That's my considerations.
Okay. Thank you for the answer, Prof.
So, and thank you, Mr. Dipta, and also thank you, Professor Lin. So, unfortunately, we have to end this question answer session because the time is already near to the final. So, during this presentation, so I would like to conclude that, yeah, we face some difficulties during this COVID for experimenting our research. But from Professor Lin, I got some idea. So it depends that what data or information we would like to collect. That's right, Professor. So, and also about the validity, the data, it's maybe important for the academic, but maybe it's different from the perspective, industry perspective. So we have to separate about the data maybe, and maybe some techniques or tools can be used also for collecting the data, and some statistical analysis also can be done to make the good information for the usability engineering. And maybe I have to finish our session, Professor. Thank you very much. We really appreciated about your time and your sharing about the usability engineering. So maybe we can meet at the next presentation or meeting. So I will give the place and time to Miss Florence.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you, Mr. Andrianto, for leading the session. And as a token of our appreciation, we would like to present a certificate of appreciation to Professor Ray Fong Lin for giving us the lecture today. I would like to invite the head of design and computational, I would like to invite the head of industrial engineering department, Miss Christina, to kindly present the certificate symbolically.
Thank you so much, Professor Lin, for sharing the
Thank you.
news to us. And we hope we can have like a further collaboration next time. And thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate sharing.
Oh, this is nice.
Mirlina, could you please help us to commemorate this event and take a picture for us?
Okay. Okay, let me count by 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And together with all the participants, Milena.
Okay.
Shall we all open our camera?
Excuse me, please remove the spotlight for Mr. Ray, Mrs. Florence, and Mrs. Christina, please. For co-host, help me. Okay. Thank you. So I have 5 slides here. Let's start with the first one. I will count by 3, 2, 1. Like, next, the second slide. Please keep smile. I will count by 3, 2, 1. Okay, next the third slide. 3, 2, 1. Now the fourth slide. 3, 2, 1. And the last one. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Milena, for your help. Before we end our meeting, please fill in the questionnaire provided by us through this QR code or on this link. The e-certificate will be sent to your registered email in this questionnaire afterwards. I will give 2 minutes for you to fill in the survey.
Miss Florence? Miss Florence?
Miss Christina?
If I'm not mistaken, I think next week we will have like another webinar, right? On Tuesday?
Yeah, another episode. from this series.
The topic, maybe you can give us like a small brief, short brief or something.
Yeah, in this series, so today is the first episode talking about the usability engineering from human factor perspective. And next week, we will have a guest speaker talking about the user interface with user experience from the perspective of user requirements. And the speaker is a professor from Information Communication Department from Yonsei University. It will be held on Tuesday at 2:30.
So with another speaker, but the same moderator and the same university, right? So
In the same channel.
we're like sister university, right? Maranatha Christian University and also the Yuanchi University. Yeah, great. Okay, thank you so much.
So we would like to close our seminar with a prayer. I would like to call upon Mr. Edwin to lead us in a prayer.
Okay, I will lead a prayer in Christian faith in Indonesian. Let's pray together. Puji dan syukur kepada Tuhan Yang Maha Esa yang telah memberikan berkah dan hak rahmat sehingga kami dapat menyelesaikan webinar dengan baik. Semoga webinar hari ini dapat menjadi berkah bagi kami semua. Dalam namamu kami berdoa dan engkau syukur. Amin.
Okay, Mr. Edwin, finally we come to an end. We would like to once again thank our honorable speaker, Dr. Lin, for the inspiring lecture. Hopefully this will be a fruitful event for everyone participating today. So thank you for having us, everyone. Stay safe and healthy. See you on the next event on Tuesday, March 22nd. We'll talk more about user interface. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
See
Prof.
you later.
Thank you, Professor.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Professor.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lin.